When textbooks cover the creation of Israel, the timeline usually begins in November 1947. The United Nations Partition Resolution is often framed as a peaceful political milestone, a triumph of international diplomacy. From there, the story transitions into a familiar narrative, a young nation forced into a defensive war of independence against a massive, unprovoked invasion by surrounding Arab armies. Declassified intelligence tells a different story. Analysts at both the U.S. State Department and the Pentagon explicitly warned Washington about the impending violence long before the conflict officially began. They issued these warnings because heavily armed Zionist militant groups had been actively preparing for a massive offensive well before any international armies crossed the border. These warnings suggest the violence wasn't a sudden, chaotic reaction to a surprise invasion. The analysts saw it coming because the infrastructure for a large-scale militant campaign was already in place. In the first half of this war, over 750,000 Palestinian men, women, and children were expelled from their land and homes. To understand how a population that did so quickly, we have to look at the tactics on the ground. The historical record documents at least 33 specific massacres of Palestinian villages. The dates on these records reveal a specific pattern. Half of these 33 massacres were carried out before a single Arab army had even joined the conflict. We cannot attribute this violence to the crossfire of two conventional armies. The timeline points to a campaign to clear the land of its Muslim and Christian inhabitants to guarantee a demographic majority for the self-described Jewish state. The numbers are staggering, but zooming in on the village level reveals exactly how this terror was applied. It was intimate, face-to-face brutality. Take the village of al-Dawayima. According to an Israeli eyewitness report, soldiers walked through the village killing children by breaking their heads with sticks. The soldier recalled that every single house was filled with dead bodies and listened to a peer boast about raping a woman before shooting her. The Palestinian survivor testimonies matched this nightmare. One woman recounted watching a man shoot her 9-month pregnant sister, then use a butcher knife to cut open her stomach. The horrific nature of these acts created a climate of total panic. For those who witnessed the brutality, the message was clear: abandon the village or risk the same fate. The most thoroughly documented incident took place in April 1948 in the neutral village of Deir Yassin. Once again, this attack occurred prior to any international Arab intervention in the war. When a Swiss Red Cross representative arrived at the scene, he walked directly into a slaughter. He documented 254 dead villagers lined up and shot in cold blood. The demographics of the dead confirm the nature of the attack. Among the victims were 145 women. 35 of them were pregnant. The Red Cross representative actually arrived while some of the killing was still in progress. He watched a young Jewish woman carrying a blood-covered dagger and saw an elderly couple stabbed in their doorway. In his diary, he wrote that the brutality of the Zionist militias reminded him of the SS troops he had seen in Athens during World War II. The horrors continued long after the shooting stopped. Richard Catling, a British official for the Criminal Investigation Division, filed a report detailing specific sexual atrocities. He documented how young schoolgirls were raped and slaughtered, and older women were molested. When neutral third parties like the Red Cross and British intelligence document the same atrocities as the fleeing villagers, the argument that these massacres were the chaotic accidents of a defensive war becomes difficult to sustain. A campaign this systematic required organized leadership. The operation at Deir Yassin was coordinated by two specific militias, the Irgun, led by Menachem Begin, and the Stern Gang, commanded by Yitzhak Shamir. Immediately following the bloodbath, Begin sent a dispatch to his troops. He wrote, "Accept my congratulations on this splendid act of conquest." He told his soldiers to continue smiting the enemy, declaring, "God, God, thou hast chosen us for conquest." By May 1948, the United Nations tried to halt the bloodshed by sending a Swedish diplomat, Count Folke Bernadotte, to negotiate a peace. During World War II, Bernadotte had heroically rescued thousands of Jews from the Nazis. To the extremist factions conquering Palestine, a negotiated peace was viewed as a threat. In response to his mediation efforts, Yitzhak Shamir directly approved the assassination of the man who had just saved so many from the Holocaust. These radical militias had no interest in a diplomatic settlement. They were prepared to execute international peacekeepers to secure their path to territorial expansion. Despite leaving a documented trail of massacres and high-profile political assassinations, neither Begin nor Shamir ever faced a tribunal. The U.S. State Department was aware of Menachem Begin's violent activities and attempted to deny his visa to enter the United States. They were ultimately overruled by President Harry Truman himself. Years later, sitting for an American television interview, Begin was asked how it felt to be the father of terrorism in the Middle East. He corrected the interviewer, replying, "In all the world." Neither man faced a tribunal. Instead, both Menachem Begin and Yitzhak Shamir would eventually be elected Prime Minister of Israel, bringing the leaders of the 1948 militias into the highest political office of the new state. The raw evidence tells a story of a reality built on 33 village massacres, unchecked militia violence, and the ethnic cleansing of over 750,000 people. If you value this kind of in-depth, unflinching historical research, please hit that subscribe button and like this video to support the Bookish Breakdown. Leave a comment below with your thoughts on Chapter 11, and let me know what historical event we should investigate next. History is rarely as clean or as simple as the prevailing narratives suggest. It is complex, it is heavy, and it requires us to constantly keep reading and keep questioning. I will see you in the next video.